Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tori Brame and this is Holy City Mystic. Thank you for being here. So today I wanted to talk about which is more important, your sun sign or your rising sign. A little while ago I did one that was which is stronger, your sun sign or your rising sign. If you would like to see that, you can just follow the link below, but that really resonated with a lot of people, so I just wanted to do another one talking about which one is more important. So a lot of people who enjoy astrology like to listen to podcasts where they have weekly weather forecasts or the July weather forecast or whatever it is, talking about what is going on in the sky. And oftentimes they talk about follow your rising sign, follow your rising sign. And so with people who were born at dusk or midnight or something like that, they do not have a sun sign and a rising sign that is the same. In fact, you would only have the same one if you were born close to dawn. So if you're a Scorpio sun sign and you have a Taurus rising, those two things are at opposite ends of the zodiac. And so it's easy to be like, okay, well, they are polar opposites. Like, how do I know which one to follow? Because sometimes people will just say your sun sign. It's like, well, how do I know which one to follow? And usually when we're kids, our first introduction to astrology is all just sun sign. And that's usually when we decide whether we buy it or not. Because if someone is telling you all these things that are supposed to describe you, but you don't really feel like they describe you, then you tend to just be like, well, that's not me. I don't really believe in astrology because it has zero predictive power. So like, whatever, I'll just leave that alone. Which again, your prerogative. I'm not here to force you to believe anything. So anyway, which one is more important? Why do astrologers tell you to look at your rising sign when you have a transit coming up, or everyone has a transit coming up, where there's like a Sun-Pluto opposition, and they're like, okay, well, take a look at where this is in your chart according to your rising sign, not where it is according to your sun sign. So one resource I would highly recommend is called The Cosmic Calendar by Christopher Renstrom. It is a book. You can get it on Amazon. It also is on Audible. Absolutely amazing at breaking stuff down for you. But in that book, he describes how your sun sign is part of a calendar and your rising sign is like a clock face. And that is exactly how it's calculated. If you are born in the month of October, you are either going to be a Scorpio or a Libra, depending on what day you're born. And somebody else who has your exact same birthday is more than likely going to be that exact same sign as you. However, someone born on the exact same day as you might have a completely different rising sign depending on the location they were born and what time they were born. Because your rising sign is whatever sign was on the horizon the moment you were born. So it's kind of like the sun, is making a loop in the sky and it stops right here, and then whatever sign was on the horizon, that is your rising sign, because that was what was rising the moment that you were born, what was ascending, your ascendant. So I hope that makes sense. So why the rising sign is important is because that is what starts your house system. So if you use whole sign, if the sun was in Taurus the moment you were born, the sun on the horizon, not the sun in the sky, but if it was on Taurus the moment you were born, then Taurus is your entire first house. That is your ascendant. You do have an ascendant point, and that will be whatever degree it was the moment you were born. However, if you use a different house system like Placidus or Koch, that point is going to start your first house. So if you're at 16 degrees of Taurus, 16 degrees of Taurus to whatever of Gemini, depending on where you are in the world, longitude and latitude, it's confusing. I won't get into all of it here. That is going to be your first house. So your first house will actually span 2 signs. So when the weekly weathers are happening and they're like, find out where this is in your chart, it is important to know which house system you're using and why. Most of the time I just tell people to use whatever is comfortable to you. They're both accurate. They're both accurate in a little bit different ways. I believe it was Jen Zart said that Placidus is more accurate from a subjective point of view. So it's going to be how you feel on the inside. That is going to be more accurate to you. Whole sign is more accurate as far as concrete things that happen. So she used the example of somebody being a reporter and writing about your life. Whole sign is going to be more accurate there because it's more objective. It's more what is happening at that time. Placidus is more psychological, how it feels on the inside. So I primarily do readings in Placidus just because that is what I learned first. That is the one that resonates the most with me. I can read in whole sign. I often switch to whole sign when people want to know what events are coming up or what kind of things they can look out for. I believe whole sign is going to be better for that. But as far as people wanting to know, more of the psychological stuff, I think Placidus works best for me. Again, personal opinion, it doesn't matter what house system you use, they all work. So back to what I was saying about the rising sign. The reason why they talk about the rising sign in weekly weathers is because if you are having a full moon, according to your rising sign, it is going to be in a certain house. So if it's in the 4th house, it's going to have a lot to do with your home and family, maybe your parents, maybe your family lineage, maybe your physical home that you're in. If it is in your 12th house, you might have a lot of past life experiences coming up, maybe stuff from your childhood, psychological stuff that's coming up. Your dreams are probably going to become more vivid, stuff like that. So that is why they pay attention to that. However, with really big transits, it is important to also look at your sun sign because something could be conjuncting your natal sun, or it could be opposing, trining, something like that. So if you have an ascendant and it's just nowhere near your sun sign, but something is happening in Taurus that is significant, and your sun is in Taurus, then you are probably also going to feel that, even though your ascendant is Gemini or Capricorn or something like that. So it's important to pay attention to both. But the reason why people talk about ascendants so much in weekly weathers is because that's the house system, and you will be able to understand a little bit better where that transit is going to play out in your own personal chart, in your own personal life. Another thing that is important to know is what house your natal sun is in, because that house is going to have a lot of prominence as to who you are. So if your natal sun is in the 4th house, the home you live in, your home life, your family, your parents, they're going to be very important to who you are as a person. That could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing, but that is going to be something that is always tied to who you are as a person. Same thing with career. If you have your sun in the 10th house, you're not the type of person that can just do whatever, make a paycheck, go home and feel good about it. Whatever you choose to do is going to be something that is tied to your personality. So if you're someone who is a teacher, and you did a really amazing job as a teacher, and then they came around, they did a bunch of layoffs, you had to get a job at a fast food restaurant, you're a manager at the fast food restaurant, so you're actually making more money than you were as a teacher. However, since being a teacher was so tied to your personality, to your sun, that is going to be a transition that you have a very hard time with, and you won't really be happy until you find something that is connected again to your personality, to your sun, who you are as a person. Look at where your sun is in your house system, see what house it's in, see what implications that has for you. As far coming back to the question at hand, as far as which one is more important, the answer is both. If you're looking at a timing situation, probably your ascendant is going to be what you want to look at because it's going to show what house that transit is going to happen in. However, your sun is also very important, especially if something is going down in your sun's sign. All right, everybody. I hope that made sense. I will talk to you guys later.